Welcome to Rise and Shine channel by Sarabjit Sidhu.
Right, let me share the slide and do let me know once all these are visible, and followed by your confirmation only, I'll put it on a slideshow. So is this visible, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, good morning. So be interactive. This webinar is more, for a practical tips than a theory. So and moreover, this is what is kind of giving you direction, so that you can be more self-assured, more relying on yourself, right? Okay, so I think we can start now.
Ma'am, Mansi will take over now. She'll start.
Okay.
She would just introduce.
All right.
Firstly, good morning, everyone present over here. A warm welcome to you all on the Clinical Trial Day. Today, as we celebrate the remarkable achievements in medical research and honor everyone who has contributed to these advancements, clinical trials are the cornerstone of medical innovation. They provide critical data on safety and effectiveness of new treatments, leading to improved health outcomes and, in many cases, life-saving therapies. These trials are the bridge between scientific discovery and the real-world medical advancement. Over the past year, we have made significant strides from the groundbreaking cancer therapies to innovative treatments for rare diseases. Our trials have opened new doors of hope for patients around the world. Each success story is a testament to the power of collaboration and perseverance. Moving forward, it is my pleasure to introduce our esteemed speaker for the day, Sarbjit Sindhu ma'am. Ma'am is a distinguished speaker in a clinical research field with extensive experience in the site management, monitoring and auditing, medical writing, and clinical trial transparency. She is also an educator, sharing her knowledge at various institutions. She is the author of the book Clinical Research and Medical Writing Career Guide, a comprehensive resource for professionals in the field. She is a highly accomplished professional in the field of clinical research and pharmacovigilance. Currently, she serves as a manager of clinical trial transparency at GSK, a position she has held for over 3 years. Prior to this, she was a principal medical writer at Kinapse. With a robust background that includes leadership roles and collaborations with WHO, Ma'am has a wealth of knowledge and experience. She is here with us today to have a workshop on medical writing in honor of the Clinical Trial Day. Ma'am will be sharing her insights on the same. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Sarabjit Sidhu ma'am. I request the attendees to be interactive as there will be tasks in between this session and the most interactive student will get a set certificate by the end of the session. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Mansi, for the kind words. It's always pleasure to interact with student, but I always request, please be more interactive, ask questions, because this is very good opportunity. I'm not claiming that I know everything. I am still in the process of learning, but whatever I know, I will share with you, right? So we are celebrating International Clinical Trials Day. It is celebrated every year globally, right? So at the actual date for this clinical trials day is, I'll put it on a slideshow, 20th May, you know. So tomorrow is the day when everyone is celebrating this day. Why we are celebrating? Because there is a reason. It is a landmark in a clinical trial history. Guys, may I request you to put yourself on a mute unless you don't have a question? Hello. Okay. So we celebrate International Clinical Trials Day on 20th May every year, and it is celebrated globally. There is two reasons. One is it is, landmark in history of a clinical trial, because this was the first time on this day that comparative clinical trial was done. Second, to, give us more energy to actively contribute in this field. So this was the little background. May 20th is the day when we are all celebrating International Clinical Trials Day. What happened on this day that if we go back in time, 1747, Dr. James Lind, this is the reason he is also known as a father of clinical research. So he was the first physician who, conducted clinical trial on a ship. So I won't go into detail of that trial because that's very simple. He was just experimenting few things on sailors. He basically divided them into 3 groups. One group, he gave them apples, one just seawater, one, even at that time, can you imagine? He was afraid of giving lemon and oranges because those were expensive at that time. And just to treat the SCOBY. So this was an experiment, but why this was remarkable in the history of clinical research? Because it was comparative. He already made groups, group 1, say, taking only seawater, group 2 will taking apples, group 3 will be taking this, so that he can compare. So it was very systematic research, So now there is a little homework for you guys also. I can give you this link as well if you want, but I can give you at the end because I am not able to stop. What you all need to do is that you have to write one paragraph. In my every session, I try to give you a little bit assignment or a case study. Now you may ask me why, because guys, unless we don't try our hands. See, everyone knows how to make a tea, right? It's such a simple thing. But unless you try it, you won't perfect it. And this is my humble request. You all need to write one paragraph on this experiment. It is by James Lind. And this is when you go for interviews also. Sometimes they ask you, okay, who is the father of clinical research? And you can give a reference to this experiment, and you can, instead of just giving a name, James Lind, so tell them little about experiment and say them that in honor of that, we still today we are celebrating International Clinical Research Day. Because just imagine, maybe 5 people are gone for an interview. General question answer, everyone knows. These days, people are very smart. But how you can stand out, how you can make yourself different from others, that is where you are going to create a difference, and and more these days, more than your qualification, more than your degree certificates, what matter most is that your skills, how you are presenting yourself. So I always say that whenever you are coming for these webinars, bring your notebook, make some notes, and give it some time to prepare. So how many of students, they are ready to this little assignment, and you have to submit it to either Mansi or Mansi is coordinating today, or a Smriti, So how many of you will be able to do this? Silence is not good. Okay. Thank you, Arun. Thank you, Usha. Good. So please do it. It's very easy. It will take 5-10 minutes. That's it. So good. All right. So let's progress to next. Now, why I am giving you this assignment? You need not to copy paste. We are studying few practical tips of medical writing. And you have to apply those practical tips when you are writing this paragraph. So that is the part 2 of the assignment, right? Very well done. Thank you so much. Okay, let's go to our next slide. So why we celebrate this day? One is, clinical research. If we look at the clinical research as of now, if we wanted to have a new experiment, new vaccine, new diagnostic, anything new, we don't have any other alternative than a clinical research. For patient, it give lot many benefits. It gave us an opportunity to bring out new treatment options. Moreover, it is evidence-based. It's not like someone think of it and they introduce the medical practice. There will be data behind it. There will be statistical significant data. Like we just studied about Dr. James Lind. He experiment, right? And he created the groups, then he compared the data. So in a clinical research, you are creating evidence, without evidence, you don't talk anything. And this is the thing which makes this medical writing very much different from your normal writing, because in a normal writing you have to be creative, but in clinical research writing, or you can say medical writing, you speak only and only about evidences. Now, what are the other benefits apart from jobs? Yes, employment is one very good thing, you all can get very good jobs in a clinical research. Not all jobs, it's just, there are certain careers, those come with additional perks. Here in a clinical research, that additional perk is you will gain lot of knowledge. Just look at me. I have just done masters in microbiology from university campus. That was my advantage, right? But all the knowledge related to pharmacokinetics, pharmacodynamics, drug discovery, I gained while working in a clinical trials. Till today I'm learning, like this transparency field where I'm working now, it was not existed 10 years back. So everything is new. So we are just learning on the way. So that's the biggest gain, because you stay relevant. Staying relevant is more important in today's world. So this job will keep you stay relevant. You will get extensive GCP and GLP training. How I am able to share knowledge with you, because I also get lot many trainings. So I absorb them, I utilize them to my best, ability, and then I share with you. And it is, whenever you work in clinical trials, all always global. Your teams will be global. So your recognition will be global. You will be part of a global team. So what else? All the hospital sites, suppose maybe you are doing some small research in your institute, that will get infrastructure development. And patient will get more quality care, and they will get access to new medicines, life-threatening, those do not have a cure, all that, right? And it is a global field, So if some invention is coming from Middle East, it will be shared with the world, provided we are following international regulations. Now, when you think about a medical writing, because today our focus is more on a medical writing, right? There are two things which happens. One is there are people who are good writers. They have a good writing skills, but they learn about medicine. This is a little case with me as well, because by qualification, I am life sciences student. My only advantage was when I done my master's from university, we were very fortunate that they taught us biostat plus a scientific writing course, because that university was very advanced, So I was good in those two things. But about medicine, because I was not having a pharmacy background, so I learned on my way. So this is one scenario. Another is, if you are a pharmacy student or you have an advanced degree like a PhD, you are already scientist. Then what you do, you apply other way, it is you learn to write. In the both cases, guys, what help you more is that you keep on learning. Maybe you attending webinar, maybe attending small training, maybe reading some book, even taking a membership of international, some networking group, right? I always take memberships so that I can learn, right? So these are the two parts. Now our focus is how to write. I will show you few practical examples, and you can also unmute yourself and you can also tell me how you can simplify this. So first two slides are on a basic tips, like what we keep in mind. And the examples, guys, I am showing you is these type of examples you will also see when you will go for a medical writing interview. in a medical writing interview, they will give you these type of, thank you, these type of questions in a written test. So we pay lot of attention, and I have made all these examples hypothetically, it's not easy. So pay attention, try to grab as much as you can. So let's begin. The first simple principle is that in medical writing, we don't write to impress. What I mean by that, we need not to focus on complex English. We need not to focus on jargons. We need not to focus on complex sentences, long sentences, right? What we try to do is other way around. We have to write simpler, like drug X is effective by 95%, and 90 patients were enrolled in this study. 90 patients participated in this study. Very simple English, and there are no words we feed by ourselves like, okay, as investigator thought, no, space for those words. It's purely on evidence. What is your data saying? 90% people faced adverse event. In the bracket, when you say 90%, you have to give a number also, like 90 out of 100. So this is why we talk about evidences. We have to use simpler English, simpler word wherever possible. Another is shorter and simpler sentences. One idea per sentence. Like I said, 90 participants were enrolled in the study. One sentence only, end, period, right? It is not like that the doctors, they screened 5,000 subjects, 400 gave the consent, 300 dropped, and ultimately 90 enrolled. No, nothing like that. You have to present one major idea per sentence. So that's where your medical writing stand out from the other writing. And that is also a place, sometimes students ask that, I'm not excellent in English grammar, So that is because this field doesn't demand. What this field demand is how you can present a medical information in a correct way and in a simpler way. And we try to use active voice. Passive voice, somewhere places it is acceptable, but mostly focus on active. I will show you the example when it is bad, when it is not bad. What else? Your writing style should be very simple. Have you seen that there are people whose writing style is very complex? They make things very complex. One paragraph on one topic, you should be sporting, each sporting sentence should convey one major idea. Long preceding paras, vague modifiers, tense shifter. What does mean tense shifter? The first part of the tense you are maybe using present. Second, you are using past, unaccepted. Too many prepositions. Those should be eliminated, because in medical writing, you don't have a space, very good, excellent. No, you are talking about data, right? Now we give you few examples. Now read this sentence, you can say, and try to identify where are difficult things in this. What are the difficulties in this? You can unmute also. You can put your thoughts in chat box as well. Then I will show you the revised as well. Now I can read for you guys. In a previous ascending dose tolerance study. What does this mean? Previous ascending dose tolerance study means dose, they were increasing dose slow. Like it was started with 1, then 10, then 15, 30. So that's what they mean ascending. Mostly phase 2 studies or phase 1 studies are like that. In which drug dose of 1, 5, 15, 30, 60 were administered to healthy subjects. The frequency of sedation related effects, those are drowsiness and blah, 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 increased with increasing dose. These effects were observed in all subjects receiving 60 mg dose. Is it grammatically correct? There are no grammar mistakes in this. First, I wanted to tell. But the way, if you are writing in this way, in your normal writing, it's fine. But when it comes to medical writing, this sentence is not doing very well because information is not flowing in a right way. Someone check. Dose increasing, okay, but ascending doesn't have any problem. It is more, I can give you, see, our topic is simpler and shorter sentences, right? Look at this. They, in which drug doses of blah, 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 they can really simplify it. They simply have to say with increased dose, the effect were increasing. And all people who have received 60 mg, they face this situation. Okay, it is little confusing. Yeah, little confusing is fine. Yeah, because it's they made it complex. Now there are many ways to revise it. One way to revise is you can do this like. Now, can you see that in which the information flow, basically the focus is, you know, how you have to judge. You have to judge in which way you can read message easily as a third person. See, in a previous ascending dose tolerance study, drug was administered to healthy subject at this. So they made it clear, like, you know, drug doses were at 1,550. Now, next sentence, very easy. Frequency of sedation related effects increased with increasing dose. Okay. So, see, हमने क्या किया? यहाँ तक एक sentence को split कर दिया. We split it, right? And even simplified. So, in which we simply said drug was administered to healthy subject at doses and period. We put a stop to our thought. Then next is, then we are presenting the second idea, which is the frequency of sedation related effects increased with increasing dose. So it is very clear. So all these side effects, they increased the way the dose is increased. Now, till here, we presented a second idea. Then third, what we are saying, these effects were observed in all subjects who received 60 mg dose. Now, from third paragraph, you know, it is clear the moment we are increasing dose, side effects are increasing. But some way, 60 mg dose is not acceptable because all the subjects who are receiving this, they are seeing the bad effects. Yes, thank you. So are you able to get the idea? Say, like, we broke it down. Idea, what you mean, you need to keep in mind is that whatever you want to say, it should be easily understood. Because this, we are not writing to impress that, oh, look how good my English writing skills are. No. We are not doing this. Now, what can be the major problem in this original sentence? Right? Because in clinical research students, we do the translations also a lot. Like tomorrow you have to submit the document to Spanish authority also. In India also, informed consent get translated to many languages because that is a need. If you are writing in this way, the first sentence, first para, your translation is not coming in a right. So that is also one hurt. Second thing, you are presenting these documents to regulatory authorities. Someone can misinterpret this data, which we don't want. We want a clear message. So that's the idea. Is it clear? Is it helpful? I tried my best. I don't know other way, but you can give me the feedback. Okay. Okay, so when you are going for a medical writing test, they will be giving you these type of sentences. They may revise. So you can think like this and can revise. And guys, I'll say that whenever you are having medical writing test, I have very good idea for you. Go online. All those Cambridge English test, try few. Your ability will increase. So the passive voice is really bad, Yes, when it dilute the message, like an announcement of policy was made by president. Or simply you can say the policy was announced, president announced the policy. Simple. President announced the policy, active word, very nice. Yes, when it leaves out the silent information, like there were few patients with the lab abnormalities that were not considered to be clinical importance. So in these situations, your passive voice is bad, very bad. So in thumb rule, if someone give you some, example where you find it is written in a passive voice, make it active. You will pass your medical writing test. It is okay. That is not problem when you're saying by whom is very obvious. Like blood sample for lab test were collected at baseline visit. Baseline at the beginning. When you are just starting your trial, that is your baseline. We generally say day 0. So that this is related to your passive or active voice. Now there is one, this type of examples you face a lot. You have to keep verb too close to subject. The verb you have to keep close to subject. Let's see the example, right? I have underlined. So what is the reason? Because again, you won't be able to correlate. Now read it. In addition, patient with the history of clinical importance medical disease or clinical importance abnormalities. This is our subject. This is our subject, right? Everyone knows subject is this. On the screening physical examination, EC and lab test, a history of seizure disorder, presence of organic mental disorder or bipolar disorder or history of this not associated with depression were excluded. Here is our verb. Excluded means they were not taken in the study. So basically our subject is here and our verb is here. See the distance. You have started reading from here and here you are studying all about medical terminology and then you will come to know what has been done with these patients. So idea in a clinical medical writing is you keep these two closer. How you can keep? You would have simply said the patient with clinical important medical disease or clinical important abnormalities were excluded. Were excluded should have been in the first sentence only. And yes, then you can explain about what are these medical important disease, what you mean by that. You can take a look on the revised. Anyone who want to read it, I'm okay to read, but I'll see, look at this. Now our subject, here is our subject, here is our word. So we kept it in one sentence only, closer to each other. And we made many sentences out of this one paragraph. So you will be getting these type of example in your writing test and you have to revise it. So this is going to be observed in your written test. Okay, I can read if students are not ready. In addition, patient with a history of clinical important medical disease or clinical important abnormalities were excluded. We simply saying patient with who are having abnormalities, they are not included. Now, let's talk about what are these clinical important medical disease may include. Seizure disorder, organic mental disorder, or bipolar disorder, or a history of any psychotic disorder. And then you are saying that next sentence, clinical important abnormalities may include abnormality with screening physical examination, EC, and lab test. So even here you used two terms, you explained them separate. So this is how you practice medical writing. Now there is one more thing that you have to do is subject verb agreement. What does this mean? As per subject, this is subject, you are making it singular or plural. This is an excellent example. 90% of the time, you will see this type of question in your interview. Of course, grammar rules you can practice by yourself, but I am here giving you few examples. See the number, singular. Here we are specifying here this, not the people. That's why we are using verb is quite large. Next, a number. When you're using a number, which means plural, multiple, many, that means here we will be using a. So this will be according to this. This is definitely, even PV student, I guess, PV student also face written test. These are the type of the questions those come in a written test. Now next, see, mumps. Sometimes student confuse it, S is there, but mumps is a disease, singular. So you write is. Next example, I try to include few, whatever I can get. See the pain, this pain reported by 4 subjects was considered. Why was? Because pain is singular. You are not seeing this. This is known as a subject-verb agreement. If you wanted to see the grammar rule, it is known as by subject verb agreement. So is there any question? Okay, yes, that's right. A summary of this is a very standard term in a clinical research. Table of adverse event, is prepared in table 6 to 4. So you are not, because here is S, adverse events, but we are linking it to summary. That's why I underlined. That's why you are using is. Now the data is always plural. So you are using what? Data were reviewed. So hope this is clear. I'll take a pause for a few seconds. And then we will move to few more examples. I included many. I tried my best. Now I will show you the example of parallel structure. What you mean by parallel structure? Look at this sentence. Basically, we are trying to express parallel thoughts through parallel structure, right? Like girl is glamorous, it's a very simple example. So the XYG may produce its beneficial effect on endometrium by decreasing nuclear blah 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 DNA synthesis in endometrium tissue. Now, how you can revise it? XYG may produce its beneficial effect on this by decreasing and by suppressing. So you are using parallel type of words. It will decrease by suppressing this epithelial DNA synthesis. So this is how you try to club related sentences closer. So here we were using decreasing and suppression. So what we tried, we brought it together, decreasing and suppressing. So why we do this? Because to make more sense, to make it easy to read. The number one rule in a medical writing is readability. Readability means that if it is easy to read, if I am able to read very easily, that means I am successful as a medical writer. I need not to impress anyone, but what I need to focus on is my writing simpler. Now I have given you, I'm giving you here few examples because just, how you can use alternative words. Say example, these all are poor examples of jargons like expired, bleed, terminated, male/females, malignancy, ephophilia, diabetics. All these are like kind of poor examples. It's not like people don't use, they use, but good medical writers, they certainly avoid it. What you can use, what you can make it, how you can make it better. Expire, diet, be more specific. A bleed, what does it mean? Maybe a bleeding episode. Mostly we talk when we are talking about adverse events. We saw a fever episode, a vomiting episode. So we add this episode along with that thing. Terminated. No, it is not clear. Maybe patient withdraw. More specific, males, female, age you have to specify. Malignancy, cancer, Hepatitis, subject with hemophilia, So all these, uh, there is echo, sorry. Diabetic, subject with the diabetes. So this is how you can replace normal terminology with the better. And these are only few examples. But how you will learn when you will write more, when you will read more. So give more time to read. So all the students who are having my book, have you seen one thing? Because I have written by myself only. So there may be some here and there mistakes because sometimes that your publisher also make those mistakes because no matter how many times you revise, something or other thing happens. But one thing I focused that the language of my book should be very simple. If you start reading it, you should not feel a pressure on your brain that, oh my God, what difficult it is. You should not be giving that feeling in your medical writing. Okay. Now, how you can avoid jargons? There are few examples. Yes. What are these examples? I will show you the revised in second slide also. So just read, and these you can try simplifying yourself also. Just read first sentence. One patient was analyzed for XYZ. Maybe this is disease. So this is not specific. This is very general. Were analyzed for what? But did not have any XYZ levels. Right? I will show you how you can specify. The final examination was performed following the termination of patient. In the last slide, I also showed you. Sorry, this sentence is not very good. And termination is also not very good. It is not specified. 12 patients received additional chemotherapy and were transplanted. Transplanted for what? Unclear. Table 5 analyze blah, blah. So all these sentences, these are not bad, but these are not good medical writing. Because in medical writing, we are saying that we have to focus on evidence. Revised. One patient's blood. See, here we were saying one patient wasn't. No, you have to specify. One patient's blood and that may be a plasma and serum sample were analyzed for XYZ. What no XYZ was detected. So just giving you example, XYZ for maybe they are testing for anything. The final examination was performed after the patient withdrew. What we wrote here is falling. In a normal English, we write it very easily, falling day, blah, blah. But in medical writing, we avoid it. We specify after the patient withdrew from the study. 12 patients received additional chemotherapy and underwent kidney transplant. So you have to specify. That is, see the last sentence. Table 5 analyze this. The result of this are presented in table 5. Look at this. Guys, Just few slides, back, I showed you the example, how to make it plural or singular. See this, the results. That's why we are using. So this is how you focus little on the actual structure. There are few more example I thought to share with you. Not limited to this. You can use other words as well, but just from a practical aspect. Instead of this, you can use this. Prior to, before. Subsequent, after. So we generally avoid saying subsequent doses, subsequent this. Falling, after. Endeavor, try. Utilize, use. Commence, begin. Tend to. Reference to, about. For the purpose of, for. In order to. So see, these are very much acceptable vocabulary in your normal English. But when we are coming to medical writing, our main focus is to make it simpler, to make it more clear, so that there should be no confusion in our writing. Because we are more talking about evidences. We are not generic. So all we are discussing the evidences. So you can also find even a better words than all these, but I'm just wanted to give you few example, like how you can replace one word with another. So another thing is that you need not to dehumanize any person. You have to show them a respect, because in clinical trial, if patients are not participating, then there is no point. So you can't treat them just as scientific entity. Pharma speak, basically you need not to give them a pharmacy language. So how you can? We should avoid subjects were entered into study. What we can say, entered, what is this type of English? Very bad, subjects were entered. We are not giving them respect. What we should do? Participated, enrolled, you can replace that word. Participant were randomized. Randomized, again, not a good example. You can say randomly assigned, Subject discontinued the study. You can say subject withdrew from the study. So you're giving respect to this. Even in now what we started saying that diabetic patient were diabetic patient participated in study. Now we are saying that patients living with diabetes. So under any circumstance, we are not dehumanizing anyone. We have to show a respect for a human life. So this is all, this is little advanced level, but yeah, very nice, because I have shown you the examples. Excellent. So you have started getting the idea, how we are refining our medical writing skills. So these the preferred sentences are, I can take a pause, you can read, I already discussed. So these are the preferred sentences. Okay, so even these days, I have shown you so many times clinicaltrial.gov. That site, because that is a public website, a normal person also read. They ask us, do not use subject, use participant. So going one level in advance. So this is how we are giving respect to a person who is joining clinical. And another thing, we don't say when first dose of test article or new drug is given. We say hour 0. More specific. So hour X indicates specific time point. That means maybe when they taken first dose, this will be defined in your protocol. Generally, hour 0 is when you just start your trial, just immediately after informed consent. X year indicate range, like 2-year data, 5-year data, like that. So even on smaller things we need to take care, guys, like a period, how to use a full stop at the end of each footnote in a table. And just giving you few examples, because paragraph sentences, you are adding a period, but even at the end of your footnotes in the table. Why I'm telling you these small things? Even in your writing, if you have these small mistakes, you will get comments from regulatory bodies when you submitting clinical study report, even to clinicaltrial.gov. If there are spelling errors, if you once we have received a comment, we were having a new writer. I will tell you in the next sentence what that comment was, and they hold the record unless we have not resolved it. So these are the small things you have to take care. Like abbreviation, you have to keep in a capital. This is how you have to write educational degrees. This is how you have to, mention the social titles. There are norms that you need to practice in a medical writing. Like capitalization, like a level 1 header, all should be caps. Figure title should be caps. Now I'll give you one example. This is tricky. We need not to capitalize the first letter of article. Like if in your title A and D is there, we don't capitalize this. Maybe rest of the things were capitalized, but these are not. Similarly, conjunctions, but not any word which is less than 3 letters. Now what happened in one of our study, we submitted to clinicaltrial.com. Our writer was new by mistake. What mistake she has done? That in title, for also, she wrote like this. Like this. And we got a major count that on this song. Small thing. You will say that, no, this doesn't matter. Everything matters. But whereas if it is a from, then you can write in a capital word. So any preposition with the 3 letters or less than 3 letters, you have to write in a small, even if it is coming in your title. So study title. Suppose you are writing a study on new drug X in comparison to Y. In, suppose I have used in between in. So in you have to write in a small. On the patient, okay, on the is again on, and the is also will be in a small. So all these things matter a lot, right? So you have to practice writing rules. So these are a few more things that you need, very small things, but I'll say that on even simpler thing, which is how to write in a capital or a small, all these things you need to take care of. Numbers, how you can write numbers? Anything which is less than 10, like 4, you have to put it in a number. 4 events in 2 subject. 1 subject with rash. So 1 you can't write like this. This type of examples you have to see in a medical writing test. Anything which is less than 10, you have to put a number. But when is the exception? When it is at the beginning of the sentence, you can write like this. If the start of the sentence is with a number, then you can write this. Okay, so this is how you have to follow the writing rules. Few more examples on the numbers. If you are using a decimal, you have to put a 0 in front of this. You can't write 75. You can't write 0.75. So this way you can't write. You have to add a 0. Use Arabic, not Roman numbers for phase. Like phase, when there is a phase, you have to write this. Very simple, but very important, like this. There should be space between the units, number and unit. See, there is a space. But when you're defining n is total, and there should be no space. And for abbreviation also. So these are the small things, but very important in medical. So suppose you are a medical writer. You said, I don't care. When your record will go for review, all this will be read. This record will be full with the comments. Why we are doing this? To make it clear, because just imagine if I am not adding 0 in front of a decimal, someone can, in a rush, he can misread it. So that's why we are using. Even the comma, when number is more than 5, like this, you have to write. First, second, numericals, you have to mention like this. Suppose there are two separate number consecutively. We are saying 225 mg doses, 12, 15-year-old subject. So there are two numbers. One you have to do in a word. The first one you have to write in the word. Second, you can mention in the number. Why we are doing? Because if I'm writing like this, it will confuse. It will become 225, which is not the real thing. It is, we are saying 225 mg doses. 12, 15 years old subject. 12-15 साल के बच्चे, right? So this is how you have to separate it. So you have to use your common sense and yeah. Thank you so much. You can misread it. Even if you put a comma, even if you put a space, it can be misread. Okay, so these are the examples. Few more on numbers. This is how you put a ranges, like we have to use the word to for the range values like 100 to 300, or you can use from, not in between. We don't use in between. Like in a normal English, we use in between, but in a scientific writing, we don't use. We say subject is range from 18 to 63. Very clear. The idea is that we have to be clear in our what we are saying. Only women were enrolled in group 1 through. We can use through. Or if we wanted to add dates, 4th Feb through 24, but not in between. You can't say that between from this and this. So now my final say on medical writing, what you keep in with all these examples that I have shown you. In addition to what we do mostly, we save our work frequently so that we don't lose it. Even if you want to save your personal copy, you have to save. Why I'm telling you this also? Because I have seen this example. Because nowadays we are taking medical writing test online. Sometimes student, they get under so much of pressure, they don't save. And these writing tests, always they give you limited time only. So always save, guys. Always save your book. Be consistent in writing. Practice. You have to practice. And what makes it more worth, read it carefully. Read it twice. You will be able to understand your own mistakes. Use all available resources. Ask questions. Sorry for this. I mentioned it twice. Sorry for this. It happens sometimes. So ask questions to clarify your doubts. So this is all from my side. I hope these practical examples, those have brought some clarity in your thoughts, would have given you some idea that how medical writers think, how they write into their day-to-day life. Because whatever you want to become in today's world, try to mimic that job in your daily life, right? So now what we can do is we can discuss few things, whatever you want, right? But my only request is whatever the examples that I have shown you, and I have given you one assignment at the beginning that you have to write a paragraph on the James Lind experiment. Implement these writing rules in that. So writing is, practice things. No one is born with it. The more you practice, the better you will be. But it is very good career, I'll say. Okay, so we can discuss the questions, right? You can unmute yourself. You can, thank you. Feedback, I guess, Samriddhi and Mansi can tell, they can share their feedback form with you, right? But meanwhile, if you wanted to share your thoughts, you can unmute yourself. We can take up a question. You can share your feedback as well, like, this was good, this was not good, what went well, what didn't went well, all that, these things you can share openly, right? So because the idea for this workshop was to have a more practical knowledge, the focus is more on a practical things, not just on a theory. That's why I brought up the examples related to the, how you can use the principles of a medical writing. We already studied a lot about medical, all writing, all your protocol, informed consent form, how you can write those. We have that knowledge, right? So, but how actually medical writers write, this is how you write. Someone is saying something. We can, you can unmute yourself and we can take up the questions. There are few in chat, right? How to deal with the criticism and disagreement, I guess, particularly from editors and peer reviewers. Sadia, it is nice question, so as I said, in a medical writing, it's, I don't know if you are talking about some different writing. In a medical writing, if someone give a comment, suppose I am giving a comment, so you can always respond to that comment. Like I am accepting or I am rejecting. But if I'm rejecting, on what basis I'm rejecting? Always keep your strong viewpoint, It's not always that like someone gave you the comment that this value is not correct. Go back to source and check what they're saying, is it right or wrong? If they're wrong, give them a reference back. This happens a lot in a medical writing, a lot. And you need not to get worried about if someone is saying, someone is not agreeing with you or they are a critic of your writing. Don't care, it's your writing, be proud of, be proud on yourself. That's, that's not an issue. But important is if there is a comment, ma'am, clinical trial, what do you mean by, you have to be specific.
Yes.
I have a question. What type of training is given to fresher? Are you asking when you get into job? So I'm just answering from that perspective only, that when you go for any job, right? No matter you are at an initial level or a middle level or an advanced level, every company you will having a training. If you are a fresher, maybe you will get little more attention. They will give you initially simpler project. In the training, all this ICGCP, all the medical writing document that we have studied, that will be part of this. Second, they also allocate you mentor for some time, like 2 months, 3 months mentor, or they give you smaller, easier projects. That's all they, start with the freshers or the beginner level. Like now, when I started with GSK after 10 years of experience, we don't get these privileges. We are already experienced, right? But at initial level, your first or second job, You always get a mentor, or you can request also. Like, I wanted to learn about the culture of this organization, ways of working of this organization. Could you please assign me a mentor? Now, this why I always keep on asking you, speak up, because tomorrow you are being assigned a mentor also. That mentor will be with you for 2 or 3 months only. It is on you how much you can take from that person. Okay, I hope I answered your question. So there was Arun. So I will answer one by one because there was one question from Mayuri. I think, where is that COVID related question? You have to, no, it is from what is the main question, ma'am? Clinical trial on COVID-19. Though if I wanted to give you a general answer, because it is not a specific, those were done under the expedited review process. It generally takes 10 to 12 years in a clinical research, but at the time of COVID, they have taken a second route. In our regulation, there are two routes. One is normal standard. Second is expedited. Expedited means after phase 2 only you can sell your drug in the market. So you can do 1, 2, 3, phase 1, 2, 3 together. So that was the approach used in clinical trial for COVID-19. So what else? Purna, clinical research, how you can get as a fresher. First of all, try to apply for all jobs. Like, it may be clinical trial assistant, it may be clinical trial analyst, it may be clinical research coordinator, it may be for medical writing. Try all. Don't put any filter, even pharmacovigilance. The reason why I'm saying, the more interviews you will face, the more you will get chances for a medical, job. Another important point is how you are applying. Are you sending same resume to all places? If yes, please stop. Read the job description. Your job description, all the words those are there in a job description should be in the your CV. That's how your CV will select it. Otherwise, your CV will not select. Highlight your training, like you have attended these webinars, workshops. Highlight those in your CV so that the person who is reading your CV get idea that you are experienced. Okay. So trial is done. Arun, if you have read about the history of a clinical trial, ethical evolution, the research that they have started doing, but there were no regulations. There were no regulation. That's why sulfonamide tragedy happened. That's why thalidomide tragedy happened. That's why your syphilis trial happened. Just imagine 1947, even when the Nazis, they have done even experiment. 1947 was the first time when they thought about informed consent. Correct? So that is the reason, because the regulation were not there. So regulation started building only after in the 40s, then 60s, and it got strengthened a lot in 1997, just 40 years back, 30 years back. Then ICH came, when they thought we should be having ICH, then slowly the government of each country, they started bringing the regulation. It is because of the lack of regulation, because at that time when thalidomide was there, how this tragedy happened? Because it was an experimental drug. It didn't get approval at that time, but they started giving to patients, right? So that was the reason. Let's go to the next. This we have addressed. Purna question. So, how you can compare the result of 2 or more studies? That is review of literature. This you have to give in a review of literature if you are writing an article on that. One uh, in how in pharma we do is that we make a cheat sheet also. Basically, we make an Excel also. We list comparison of all those both the trials in that. Or if you wanted to write in a paragraph, you have to speak about the evidence. How you can do that? Pick the abstract of both the studies and then start writing. Okay, so what? This certainly may have a role of a clinical trial. So what happened in this, how this research was done in a COVID time? It was done at fast paced, guys. It was done at very fast pace. Fast pace how? They started phase one. Before the phase one was over, they started phase two. They made one committee, which is known as a independent data review board. That review board reviewed, and immediately after they started phase two. And even once they have a phase two data, they requested the approval to administrate the vaccine in the patient. Now, how the actual drug discovery works? The actual drug discovery works in a way that phase one, once you have done, once it is over, then only you do phase two. Once phase two is done, then only three. And moreover, they take more time, they take more patience. The side effect that you are talking about, which we say adverse event, you will be able to see over the time. So now this is the reason when they administrated to masses, now they're coming to know about the side effect. So this COVID research was done at very high speed, you can say. That's why you are facing such challenges now. You know?
Ma'am, can we overcome these challenges?
Sorry, someone saying something?
Ma'am, can we overcome these challenges?
Yes, yes. Because now this is the biggest lesson that going forward, they have to do the trial in the right way. They need not to do, make a hurry. Regulation also said this thing that we are approving. That's why all these vaccines, they were given emergency approval. They were not approved like other drugs. They are saying emergency approval. That we don't have other option. So that's why immediately see that AstraZeneca, they withdraw. They said that we stopped making this drug because they also came to know that there is something serious. How to start a writing, ma'am, when we have a confusion what to start? One very easy thing, if I can tell you, write on small para every day. Now you will ask what to write. Yeah. Whatever you have done throughout day, write one paragraph. Write small article for your college magazine. Write small project. Write for yourself. See, my habit is so strong. Today, even it was Sunday, I still wrote one paragraph on what I am going to do today. Simple. And don't care about the grammar, don't care about the structure, and just write one paragraph on whatever you like. So what is the next question? Okay, so what is the fresher package for medical writing? Medical writing pays well, don't even at the beginning also you can get somewhere between 3 to 5 lakh you can get. Good companies pay more, smaller organization they start with less. But once you have experience, you can switch your job within a year. Once you gain some experience, it's very easy for you to change a job. Okay, what is next? Being a pharma or D fresh in medical writing feels very difficult. Where to start? Now, then I can't tell you where to start. If you're saying it is difficult, start with other job. Best answer is start with like clinical research coordinator, clinical trial analyst, so that you will get to know clinical research, and then slowly, if you want to progress to medical writing, you can go there like that. Okay, so irrespective of your degree, students, even if you are PhD, because in medical writing, people from diverse backgrounds come, like your BDS, even MBBS, even your PhDs, all they come. Important is you start, but based on your degree, based on your skill, you can grow. I have seen people, their compensation is still on a basic level even after so many years because they're not working hard. Once you started with good, once you started medical writing, you can grow your career, you can change your jobs, you can gain more experience on different documents like CSR protocol. That's how you can grow. It's totally depend on you. The scope, the main part is, once you are in a medical writing, it is a lifelong career. It is a life. There will be no, if you are a good medical writer, you won't face the lack of opportunity. You will be having always multiple opportunities to choose from. Multiple opportunities to choose from. Feedback form, I think she already has shared. Tejasri, she has shared it. I saw somewhere. What skill set main Mayuri has asked? Best question. First skill set that you need is knowledge of your medical, clinical research knowledge, clinical research guideline knowledge, basics about medical writing, that whatever we speak in our medical writing course, basic, what is protocol, what is CSR, which guidelines are used. And to an extent, I'll say the skill to write. So when you're going for any medical writing test, you will be tested on two things. One, on your medical knowledge and clinical research knowledge. Second, your writing skills. So these are the two things you need to build on. Okay, what else? Blog writing, publication, if you are wanted to do it. Build you, and it will help you also. When you're going for any interview, you can tell them, I already published this thing. It will certainly help you. It is not difficult to start as a medical writer as a fresher. Build your CV, make your CV more stronger. Add few example, like you have done course, maybe you have done small publication. Brush your skills. It is not difficult. Okay. This will always happen, even, after 10 or 20 years from now also. The moment company sees that their vaccine, their drug has more side effect, right? So they always withdraw from the market, because if they are not withdrawing, the regulatory body will say that withdraw. If any medication, if it is coming to light that this does have the side effects, this does have the adverse effects, they can't sell in the market. Not ethical to sell. If they are not withdrawing, a regulatory body will give them a notice to withdraw. And that will be bad for their reputation. Thank you so much. If you found this is informative session, thank you so much. But I will say that whatever the examples I have shown you, please try to discuss them with your friends, colleagues in your, college. Discuss them, learn how you can write from them. And more importantly, start working on your writing skills. What is peer reviews? No. Peer reviews, guys, what happened? See, in a clinical, in a medical writing, Suppose I am writing. Sarabjit is writing. My work will be reviewed by someone. That is peer. And in a medical writing, job is not always about writing. You will be having a job medical writer, but as a medical writer, you will be doing a review only. So when you start your job, sometimes they give you QC work only, quality control. Basically, senior writer will be writing, and you will be checking that everything is fine. Like all the example, like capitalization, all this type of scenarios I have shown you, you have to identify. Okay.
Ma'am, I guess there are no more questions. So we'll conclude the session. Firstly, thank you, ma'am, for joining us today. You help us gain knowledge about the various arenas we can do in clinical research and provided us with insights. Thank you so much, ma'am. I would
My
request,
pleasure.
yeah, now I would request all the participants to fill the feedback form which is provided in the chat box. And with that, we are concluding this session. Thank you, everyone, and ma'am, for joining us today.
Thanks, Mansi. Thanks, everyone. Bye bye.